Greetings. This is General of the Armies Vincent Diaz Jr. This is a communique in reply to the war in Ukraine and the spoken of war in Russia, directed at Russian Federation military leader Vladimir Putin. I want to start out by working on this Nazi agenda approved attempted message regarding the police, which have been waging war against the Russian military in the Ukraine. You know, President Putin, a problem with the police anywhere is a problem with the police everywhere, and there are all these problems with the police in the news here for you these days. It makes me wonder if there are any sort of charges raised against you while with what has occurred, with what has been said by those out of order and out of place to say these things because of the way they've said them without providing what is needed to provide a proven factual statement. They probably shouldn't have been said, or these things shouldn't be said. When they are said, it is a case that there are reactions. So I'm just wanting to get into what's going on here. I've read a book about the UN, how it works. I think it covered all the charters. It was a basics level college sociology book, I think. I haven't gotten into how the UN works too much like a general of my level should, as I haven't been in the proper position of training the whole time. I think this breaks another charter. Unfounded accusations of crimes and war crimes against a whole nation like Russia or its leaders, because actions of such are wanted against the whole nation, usually making false allegations, at least working for false accusations, leads to these states replying back to how I started this communique, where it means there are theoretical charges standing against people like Vladimir Putin, probably in Ukrainian territory, with all of UN territory and NATO territory questionable, of some sort of alleged charges, maybe accused, as there have been those things in the news. I think this is safe enough within the Nazi agenda. They usually just treat me like a joke when this is in no way one, and will raise charges if they do. Maybe I can be appointed the leader of all of these police stations I'm talking about. Russia haven't taken over. I don't know, I'm desperate for quarters and to move out of this rank of an apartheid society where I'm a torture toy, not of their species, to basically live with nothing, especially having to live without food and shelter, currency. To a place where I could still at least have the affordances of working at a place in society, not the only one I can make for myself. And I wonder about my quarters at the incarceratories. So if I could get into my proper 6-star general quarters that runs the incarceratory, in a situation where I'm being incarcerated there, as it's always supposed to be the case that I have my 6-star general quarters and everything it affords me of my special needs as a different type of species in general. I just never get that, and every rank thinks it's above me, behaves as such, and incurs penalties of doing it. If you could even set me up with that special impenetrable case of the 6-star general set of quarters, usually a whole floor of a penitentiary, the maximum size, the level, with my market and restaurants and all of that's supposed to be there, things would still be way better. As I'm evolving in ways I wasn't planning to evolve. I only want to evolve because of the hardships I'm facing, which are living with almost no shelter and food, as well as the special case of isolation, where I've changed my language within the allowances of the language. In a way, trying to prepare to make a new language with this as the root language, while things like ebonics and creations of language that are not language have taken place. And I'm the only one left, it seems, can speak any type of proper English, especially across paragraphs or more. I was thinking something timely. I'm trying to bring back all my World War memories. I just had a lot of war talks. I'm trying to think over all my war talks about how things are supposed to go when the communist forces are at war. This is supposed to be a special thing. Like, it's almost always a world war. You just assume it's a world war to some people. And this point I'm on right now, it's about taking over some factories. I haven't heard too much in the news about sieges on the factories. I've been hearing about the utilities. That's good. I'm usually writing fiction and more of a bad guy to the population, destroying such facilities instead of taking them over, turning them off or whatever. Oh, all right. My next, maybe I can order myself. I order myself to my quarters at Chernobyl. I know I've got to have some quarters at Chernobyl. I want to go to them. Can't we set that place up so it can put up a safe barrier for me if I'm in some sort of danger that's keeping you from helping me with other sort of quarters? From what I understand, all the factories and heavy industry sites, like heavy industry plants and such, batteries, were all fully automated upon creation, meant to always be fully automated. Theoretically, with no space for humans or human error to be involved. But once these thieves stole these things, like in some cases, my stories I'm talking about, like they slammed pieces of the constellation that is my 7-star general, God Boss, communist, Russian 7-star general who's working with me. Slammed pieces of this constellation that is he into this place, stealing pieces of his body that are basically facilities put together and being used here that are configurable by their basic pieces. In the basic talks, I think I have admissions from this side that stole them that they broke all the automation trying to make jobs for themselves. I think I got this information when the women they put to work there, when the men got forced off to fight the war, sort of knew all along, but they didn't have all the evidence until they got in there having to work there. They told and told and told. I've never been through to measure it up, but every scene I've ever seen, everything I've seen at the museums, and basically all the designs I've seen are all clearly fully automated designs. It's really, with these heavy industry parts, heavy parts, super heavy duty nature, not to be changed. But right now, if I could just sort of like click around at this thing like it's some sort of campaign-based war game on the computer, and I'm sort of in between rounds. I don't know if it's like Risk. I want to set all the factories to automation. I don't know what's required. I probably just want to bring everything in, have this state of desolation, like I could make a desert with the per se blockade. Forget the wars. This has happened in some wars. Think some old kingdom wars. People would try to take over pieces of the kingdom and face the ultimate sort of blockades of the whole kingdom just refuting them. But I've just been working on this design where you take the facility, you sort of crank up its refining and purification processes, its waste processes, so that it releases pure air or pure water. I don't know what it's supposed to be releasing like it's waste, but you get it down so it doesn't release waste and it actually releases the pure substances it releases the waste with. And then you basically fill the factory with bricks. In theory, it would be nice if it was like a solid state something or other that you could just make a total solid block of substances or something. I saw something on a news ticker I was watching on YouTube in the preview watch feature that made reference to something I was requesting or talking about. It was in writing. I think there's something else that was on topic. Not exactly one of my requests per se. It's good to see things trying to give faith and base it in proof and evidence, empirical cases of how good is there and good can prevail. You do make an impact. My final point, the point I was thinking I need to speak on, is about how to control Europe to make sure it is a just place in scenarios where it seems like nearly all unjust is what it takes to make it now there. I was recovering memories, having them relayed to me of how to figure out how to basically smite Europe off the map again. Put Europe in a World War II controlled state. That, anybody can take control of the place under if they can sort of get there to control it and have the abilities to, as it usually takes more than just like one person like I have. And it's been relayed to me. I don't really have too many ways to check. This should be something ordered to Vladimir Putin's to-do list. I'll probably just order around, check on things. So I see there's still not a lot of attacks against factories. I'm trying to control the civilians first. In my rounds of war with the planet during the World War, with me at the helm as a lone agent, being the only one in many cases who knows all of the stories, it's taking having those who know some of the stories relay stories back to me as I put together the whole case. It's been relayed back to me that there are these factories I'm referring to, these things you get to attack in ways they might tell you back you don't get to attack them, or give big warnings about your type of attacks will cause them to do things that aren't allowed to be caused. Where I have like taken percents or put these things in states of ceasefires against them, certain types of stuff, like that water plant can't take shells anymore, but maybe you could hit it with heavy armored munitions or something. And there's a way to tie together what's going on out there as you prepare these attacks and see. I haven't totally wasted everything and have it almost all destroyed. You'll see I have everything in the state of control of being in states of ceasefire, of having taken so much damage from warfare, the things can't take more damage from specific types of warfare, or combinations of warfare, even within the zone on different targets of them. Without going into failure states, harming us, harming everyone around in the way that we have our charters and such. That they were just explaining an example to me, like there's a town nearby where this stuff is going on at war that we need to discuss this over, where it's like it can't take it's on a 20 it has 20 years left on a ceasefire that was called on it because it can't take any more fire without bringing a wave of destruction to a town nearby. While nearby there's a plant that of a different type of attack, like you're going to have to try a different type of attack on the first target. Your secondary attack you usually go to on the target downstream, it has like 30 years left on a ceasefire of that type of attack, even within a zone of which you're trying to attack by trying to attack the other target. And with this example, they were making clear to me that Vladimir Putin, if you can get the intelligence and understand being the one targeting attacks like bombings against possible factories, mills, and whatever, the story is there of how I've won the world. You know, it took something special to submit this world, and if you can figure it out, you'll probably get the key to the map of what I've done, so you can just immediately get a communistic win of a world war battle to a state where the world is one nation under a military that's in control of the facilities.